Hello, this is Noah Antweiler. I'm recording this simply to give my take on this whole epic battle thing and to offer an apology to the people on my website. This is why I did not have any blog posts for about two and a half weeks. Actually, I probably should have planned this a little bit better. This trip was planned a long time in advance. So I probably should have had some video ready ahead of time to kind of tide you guys over. I actually had a SWAT 4 video planned, but I couldn't finish it in time because I wanted to make sure I had everything packed. I actually had a lot of stuff packed, costumes and things like that, and make sure all my camera stuff was secure. The real problem was that I couldn't tell you guys what I was doing or where I was going because they wanted to keep this whole thing a secret until the epic battle actually dropped. So that's why I kind of had to dance around the issue with the whole physical altercation thing, mostly because I didn't want to lie to you guys. I don't want to be that guy who you really can never believe. So I know I really gave you like a quarter truth there, but that's why I tried to emphasize from the beginning that I wasn't hurt, I was totally fine. There was some kind of major incident that I couldn't really talk about or didn't want to talk about until it was all resolved, and this is it. So again, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of good videos coming up. I mean, we did a lot of crossovers, and of course there's this. I know a lot of people were actually not happy with this video, mostly people on my website. And I'll tell you one reason why is because they thought that there wasn't enough me in it, which is actually really, really flattering. It's amazing you guys really like me. I actually have a few responses to that because I actually am pretty happy with this video. The number one reason is this is not a video about me. This is the video about the nostalgia critic and the nerd, and we're just kind of, reinforcements for both sides. So, if this was a Spoony video, there'd be a lot more of me in it. Yeah, so that's mainly why. The second reason why is this video is about 22 minutes long as it is. It's already really long. And I think Doug actually wrote this and directed this in a very even-handed way to give all of us 1-2 heroic moments, 1-2 really funny moments, and leave it at that. I mean, if it was any more than that, it wouldn't really be fair, and it would kind of seem indulgent to a couple favored critics, and that's not what we were going for. We were trying to get this fight scene shot, get everyone their bits, and kind of get out of here. And even you might argue that it goes on a little too long even for that. I think this is still really funny, though. I do agree that I'm actually very harsh on my own videos, and so of course I'm going to say that no matter how good it is, it could always be better. And I think the way this video could have been better from the beginning would have been, we shot this in one day in like a 14-hour stretch, a very exhausting shoot from the beginning. And we really should have had about 3 days to shoot this and space this out in like 6-hour segments, 6 to 8 hours a day, just to get the kind of coverage, get the kind of multiple takes we needed. As it was, we were really, really rushed, and so every shot you see was 2, maybe 3 takes tops. And so if there was a complaint against this, is that we really needed some more takes, some more time to choreograph and kind of plan these shots out. I'm still really happy with it. It's a miracle we got this shot, because I remember James Rolfe was not optimistic at all that we could get this shot in a day. And I actually cheered him up a little bit. I said, we're pros. Oh, I'm a man! The second kind of frustration, actually Linkar was a little frustrated with the script himself, because Doug has seen some of our stuff, but he hasn't really seen all of it, so he doesn't know all of our little picadillos. He doesn't know all of our little call-outs and shout-backs. And so that's why the script is a little generic when it comes to the gags that go on here. Like, Linkar wasn't happy about in the script originally, he fires the gun and is surprised that it works, when in fact he's fired the gun many times in his reviews. So we did a few changes here and there just on the fly. I love that line. I hate you! That's why there's no Dr. Insano. I actually thought it was best not to involve Dr. Insano in this because it's me. It's not the doc. I would have loved to have steered Neutro in here and do all this, but that's getting pretty deep into references that we did our best to throw them in on the day on the shoot, but none of us really wanted to interfere with the script, and we were in such a rush to get this done that if we all had time to throw in our little inner sight gags and references, we never would have got this done. So we pretty much stuck to the script, except for some gags in the background. And I think all of us understood that we really needed to get this shot pronto. 8-Bit Mickey was one of the gags that really cracked us up every time it happened. We tried to get 8-Bit Mickey to stick his head in and do this stuff every time we could, even when it didn't really make sense. I love this face on Handsome Tom. We shot this face like 4 times, and I thought this was a really constipated face. The Dragon Punch. I was actually not happy with this take. I thought I did better takes of that, but it's still really funny. The Dragon Punch is actually my idea, and in the script it just says I run in and punch him, and so I thought a Sho Ryuken would really do it. The reason I wasn't happy with that take is I actually lose my balance when I land the Dragon Punch, and I kind of launch back up into the shot, and I kind of rock back and forth because I was embarrassed. But still, I mean, that's what I mean is, like, we only had 2 or 3 shots, and so I didn't really have control over editing this. I might have chosen something different, but still, I mean, it still really works. Chrissy, awesome lady. Awesome. I loved working with her. And in fact, I tried to make excuses to get more videos shot with her. If you're not familiar with Lee is Still Gaming, people thought this was a really bad effect, but that's kind of the point, was that he is filmed only in still frames. Paw, also really funny guy. I love that guy. That's Ben at the Sage, if you don't remember. That was also a really good bit that I think gets lost in the music, where he puts his hand on her shoulder, and she goes, "Don't touch me." And he goes, "Okay." Mati, of course, stole the show, because every time he said heart, we all cracked up. So we always tried to work in as many bits as possible where he would just randomly shout heart, so we'd kick him, or we'd kick some unseen guy off the screen and get heart. Also, he would yell heart when we were doing the lineup on both sides here. This is a bit that I suggested that we never shot. A lot of people actually were kind of on board with this and a little disappointed we couldn't do it. I suggested that we do a West Side Story, there's gonna be a rumble tonight on both sides. And that never got shot. Doug actually had a really good reason for not doing that, and he actually convinced me. Still, a lot of people were kind of disappointed. He said it's a really good bit. It's a good idea. On the other hand, you are now asking me to choreograph a dance number between you really uncoordinated nerds, and so I was like, that's a pretty good point. There's like 20, 25 of us, and you want us to do a dance number? Not a good idea. It would have taken a long time to shoot as well, just from the different perspectives and the little sight gags from West Side Story. Some people were confused by my use of a cell phone during this. They were like, "What is that? Is that your gimmick? Is that your gizmo or something like that?" I'm like, no. It was just a piece of business I thought would be funny in the background, because we were all supposed to be acting uninterested. James and Doug both crack up here. I'm surprised that actually left it in the shot, but anyway. I just thought it'd be a funny bit of business to act totally uninterested by talking on the phone, texting my girlfriend, and so that actually confused some people. They're like, "Since when did you ever use a phone in your reviews?" And look, I just thought it'd be a funny bit. The part that cracks me up every time is the part where James does this lion's roar, like, "Rawr." This is where we start getting into the fighting, and we fought for a long time. This is why it was a really long and arduous shoot. We started getting really tired by the end of it, and this room started smelling like sweat and ass. It started getting really hot, just because we were spending the whole time wrestling. So this is a lot of physical action for some relatively untrained actors and non-actors to be doing in one room, and it's kind of miraculous that we weren't hurt worse than we were. If you were looking back there, you saw Kyle Justin chase me with a guitar, and now he's kind of fending us off. That was a cool bit. But yeah, we spent a lot of time fighting, and so only a few of us got hurt. I think Angry Joe really tweaked his ankle, and I actually got knocked out. I'll tell you when that happens in a second. This bit was... I was kind of coached on this bit because some people were confused by the fact I was shrieking at the nostalgia chick, "There's no time, woman, to switch!" Doug told me, he says, like, you really got to hand this one up. You got to start shrieking it. Like, it's vitally important that we do this. And so... again, not my choice in acting, but that was what we were encouraged to do. That was another reason for the cell phone bit, was it was written in the script that we whip out our cell phones and start taking photos. So I actually kind of had cell phones on the mind when that bit came up. So if that helps explain why the cell phone was out, was that we were taking photos of that. And no, I don't actually have photos of them rolling around on the ground. Oh no, I have much better photos of me with all the ladies from thatguywiththeglasses.com. You know I do. Check out the gallery on my website. Anyway, me getting knocked out. Right there, if you see that Angry Joe catches one of my punches and he starts hitting me in the face with my own fist, That was a bit we came up with together, and we shot that about 3 times. And the first time we shot that scene, which actually might be the take you see, Joe catches my fist and then proceeds to just crank me right in the forehead with my own fist and knocks me out immediately. And it wasn't bad. I wasn't hurt. It was just kind of, there's kind of being degrees of being knocked out, and I've actually experienced quite a few of them. I get my ass kicked a lot. It was just kind of that time. It's the kind of knocked out where you take a shot you're really not expecting. By the way, if you look in the background, Lindsay and Joe were doing this phenomenal exchange of roundhouse kicks, which was actually very athletic. And if you pay attention to that, they were really busting their asses for that background shot, which was awesome. Anyway, when I got knocked out, it was just kind of like me taking a shot I didn't expect, so I wasn't really hurt that badly. Yeah, I had a headache, but Joe felt really terrible, and I actually was I was so not mad about it at all, because I was like, dude, I told you to do that. But I got tagged in the head, and I had to sit down for a couple minutes. But other than that, I was fine. I got over that. But that was probably the worst injury we sustained, unless people kept it quiet. It was just a bunch of twisted ankles, and really the day after, it really started to sink in how sore we were, because we were doing this for like 14 hours of fighting. Oh, my God. You can see me slapping my own ass in that shot back there. There was some question about whose side I really should have been on, or at least my justification for choosing the critic's side, which was just kind of, I'll review anything, not just games, which might have been kind of weak, but again, this isn't my show. I thought about suggesting a change where Aussie would ask, whose side are you on? And I'd be like, I'm not really sure, because I kind of do both games and movies. And then I thought Nostalgia Critic would be like, I'll give you $20, or I'll give you a fudgesicle. And I immediately go, sold, my man. And then, but you have to understand, we really had to keep this moving, and we couldn't deviate from the script that much, because it would kind of open the floodgates. Like, if I got my script changes, everyone would have gotten their script changes. And I didn't want to go there. I just wanted to be good to work with, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be that guy who would always question, like, would I really do this? Would I really behave this way? I mean, look, we're doing a video where we're all fighting over something we can't even remember what we're fighting over, just because, like, gamers versus critics, and we're doing big-lipped alligator moments, and there's a homeless guy beating up a nerd, and like, am I really going to start throwing continuity issues and character motivations into this? Let's just do this fight thing and get it over with. And that's not to say this is cheap or amateur hour. I'm just saying, like, if it's good for laughs, if it works, just do it, and that actually was kind of the way I was. If there was any problems with the script that were going on with other people, that was kind of what I told them, and it worked pretty well. For instance, I think some of the ladies were a little dissatisfied with the scripts, in that they're not by nature violent women like Little Miss Gamer. On one hand, she's not that violent. On the other, I don't think she ever really got her payback for me hitting a Shoryuken on her, which kind of disappointed me as well. She never got to hit me back. Nostalgia chick as well. Lindsay, not a violent person, but, she kind of got into the spirit of it after a while. That was actually one of the most disappointing cuts from this shoot, was that there was a pillow fight scene filmed between the Nostalgia chick and Little Miss Gamer. My big fat fucking heart! There's a pillow fight, and actually neither one of them were that happy to have to do it. I think they maybe thought it was maybe a little demeaning. They just weren't happy with it, and so I actually suggested at one point that, what if I got in there with a pillow and I fought Bennett the Sage with pillows? And so we did the most emasculating pillow fight where we would kind of giggle and shriek. And that was actually kind of a favorite that a lot of us wanted to see, where there's a moment where I'm pillow fighting Bennett and I go, I'm so horny right now. And so they really love that. Now, if there was one thing I wanted to see in this shot, it would have been the pillow fight between me and Bennett, because that actually made the ladies feel a lot better that they weren't the only ones having some really humiliating pillow fight. It's okay when the Spoony one embarrasses himself. Oh my God. Yeah, we're really being serious. I take a photo with my phone there, a little bit of business there if you like the phone bit.
Now that's what the Cloverfield Master should have been.
There's a second bit that was kind of funny where Linkara Donkey Kong Jesus Linkara suggests... we're actually kind of staring at the window pretending we see Donkey Kong Jesus. And Linkara says, you know, if he's riding a puff of smoke, how come we're hearing footstep noises? And we all just turn around and go, shut up! And so we actually filmed that where he's like, why is there footstep noises? And we all just like jump on top of him and start beating the crap out of him. Like, let's just get this thing over with. Ah! Donkey Kong Jesus! But again, I mean, those were all really funny moments. I would like to see if I could get my hands on some of the outtakes, because they're really, really good. But again, you have to understand, we had to stick to the script, we had to get this over with, and we really didn't want to overstay our welcome with this video, because again, it's about 20 minutes, and 20 minutes is about the total lifespan of this one. It gets kind of old if you keep doing that, because we're really just fighting and having our little bit here. Another question people might ask is, what did I think of James Rolfe, because I'd never met the nerd before. And actually, you have to be careful referring to him as the nerd. James is actually very, very quiet. He would almost never elicit a conversation with you. But on the other hand, you have to understand why. I actually was kind of put off by that at first. But again, you have to realize he was in a room with about 20 to 30 people. He just had no idea who we were. He hadn't seen any of our stuff. He hadn't talked to any of us personally. And so you wouldn't exactly be the most outgoing person with a room full of strangers either. Maybe you would, but I actually understood. I mean, you're kind of shy around that many people, especially when you're not familiar with their work, but they're all familiar with yours. So if that helps explain why he seemed kind of quiet at first, yeah, he warmed up to us, but he's a private guy, and he likes to kind of maintain that distance from people, and he's not the nerd. I mean, you have to understand that he doesn't run around yelling, fuck ball, shitload of fuck, and stuff like that. That's a character, so it's really easy to fall into that when you just call him the nerd. He's James. He's just a normal guy. Anyway, I don't mean to make it sound like any of us were really unhappy with the script or working with each other. Seriously, we had a blast, and it was a lot of fun. It was just a very, very long shoot. It was very hectic, and we were extremely rushed. And by the end of this, we were all really sore and really tired. So, yeah, I think that was really the only thing, is that if I were to try to plan this again, if we were going to do this again, we would have probably stretched this out over more than one day. I just think we couldn't get the conference room for more than one day. So anyway, I'd just like to take this time to thank Doug, Mike Michaud, James, Mike Ellis, and everyone else involved with the production of this video for bringing us all over and getting us involved, because seriously, it was one of the best times of my life. It was great working with you and meeting everybody, especially people I had never even heard of before, because it exposed me to all your work. I had to watch a lot of really funny stuff, especially Little Miss Gamer, who I'd actually never seen before. Handsome Tom and 8-Bit Mickey, I'd rarely seen any of their stuff before, so it was great meeting and working with all of you. Kyle Justin, very interesting guy. We didn't actually talk much, but he got to chase me around the room with a guitar. I love you. I got to know Benzai way better than I think most people should know Benzai. 8-Bit Mickey! I'm sorry I Dragon Punched you, Lindsay. I hope next time you will get your revenge. That's kind of why I wish the pillow fight was in there, because at least it emasculated me sufficiently to where any humiliation you may have suffered from your Dragon Punch was lessened. Sean, great guy. Didn't expect him to be as funny as he was in person. As for that chick with the goggles, I only have 2 words for you. The shocker. Little inside joke there. Bargo actually didn't want to appear as Mati in other videos. I guess he just wanted to avoid being typecast. Oh, Cat, another life I could have been your private stalker. Too bad you've already got a creepy guy. Rob was filming the entire thing, and we actually got into this really annoying game of, like, Dune tennis, where he and I would be shrieking lines from the David Lynch movie Dune at each other like crazy. We must have been insufferable, but me and him were shouting Baron Harkonnen lines and like shouting, "I will kill him!" and things like that. So we had a lot of fun doing that, because we were shouting lines from a movie very few other people had seen. And it also really exposed us as being very sad for having essentially memorized the entire prolonged extended cut of Dune verbatim. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you're looking forward to the crossover videos, because we did a lot of that stuff.
Now that's some fuck right there.
And James forgets his lines. Yeah, we pretty much knew that was going to be the line that closed us out of this video. Anyway, thank you. See you next time.